You're watching the Battered Herons Network.
Welcome everybody to episode. Well, actually, this is just a random episode. I am Daniel Granada, and alongside me usually is Mr. KBD, but he doesn't like to wake up too early. He might be joining us, but we'll wait and see on that. Just real quick, while I get started, I see a lot of people in the chat already saying clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. Let me start by saying this is. I thought, and I still think, Sports Illustrated is a credible source for news, and they did they did cite where the source originally came from. So I'm not really sure how credible that person is, but I would assume that if Sports Illustrated goes ahead and runs with it, that maybe there is some legs to this. Now, for those of you that are wondering what the heck I'm talking about, Sports Illustrated went ahead and they posted this last night. And they said an agreement has been reached between Lionel Messi and Argentine side Newell Old Boys over a 6-month loan deal after the end of the 2026 Major League Soccer season. He would then return to Inter Miami in time for the newly formatted 2027-28 campaign, which will begin later this year. Later that year. So I know a lot of people are saying that they don't believe it's going to happen. And I'll also tell you why I think that it might not. But the fact that Sports Illustrated kind of stuck their neck out and went ahead and wrote that gives me a feeling that there might be some legs to this. But in a hypothetical world, for those of you that are saying that it's not going to happen, a lot of people said that Messi wasn't coming here either. And that was a really hard thing to kind of sell to people. And they're like, oh, Messi's never coming to the MLS. And now those are the same people that think that they know what is and isn't happening with Messi. But in a hypothetical world, yeah, and for those that don't know, I am an Inter Miami supporter because I'm streaming this on the MLS and on the Battered Herons channel because, well, I feel like this is interesting for both places because it affects both the MLS and Inter Miami. To start off with, this I think already discredits what a lot of people feel is going to be like a silly mini season. After the 2026 season, we're going to have in the MLS a little mini season. I forgot, they gave it a cute little name, but it's going to be 14 games and then a playoff. It's going to start in February, I believe, and go all the way to May. Now, if people were already discrediting and saying that whoever wins, people aren't going to take that champion serious or whatever it may be. But the fact that Messi could possibly leave for those 6 months, I think that already discredits it more because obviously Messi's the selling point for a lot of people to watch this league. Once you see that Messi isn't going to be part of that 14 games, I feel like people are going to be like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'll wait until the next year. It's going to take a lot of momentum away from the MLS because the MLS has been building some momentum. I mean, this year alone, we got bigger names talking about the league. We have bigger names coming, rumored to come to the league. And if all of a sudden you have this mini season and Messi kind of just bows out for 6 months, I feel a lot of people aren't going to be taking that league serious. I wouldn't be surprised if his teammates, Rodrigo De Paul, also like, you know what? I'm going to go somewhere else for 6 months. And that could be a domino effect. And what that leads to is not just a domino effect of people leaving for 6 months because they're not taking that mini season seriously. But then if it's a domino effect and you see a lot of big names going ahead and doing that, then there's a good chance that you see the credibility of the league take a hit because everybody's going to be like, look what's going on. People are just leaving for 6 months at a time. And I think that that's going to be a big blow. So more than just Inter Miami. And I know, and shout out to One World, One Goal. I know that Beckham left for Italy when he went to play for AC Milan for 6 months. But the MLS now is much different than it was 15 years ago. The eyes of the world weren't on the MLS back then. Beckham, yes, he was very popular, but I feel like right now, in MLS standards is at an all-time high for not just the support, but also for the criticism. And if people start seeing Messi and everybody leaving for 6 months at a time, he's going to get criticized a lot more than it already is. So I think that's going to be a big part of that because I think that is going to take a shot to the credibility. Also, if Messi were to leave, hypothetically, because I've seen some people talking about this already, a lot of people are wondering, does he come back? Now, I think he does. Right? Contractually, he's already signed through 2028, I believe. So I think he does come back. But that lends itself to another question, because Messi's going to play for his hometown team. Maybe he ends up loving playing for his childhood team. Um, Now, if he was ever going to do this, because a lot of people have said that this is a dream of his to go ahead and play for his childhood team. Yeah, I guess this is the perfect opportunity. The perfect opportunity is to go and leave for 6 months and then come back. So I could see, right? It doesn't affect like a regular season. It just affects the mini season. So I could see why this would be attractive to him if he were to do it. But again, as an Inter Miami supporter, also on top of it, I think being bad for the league, um, I think that would be a hit to it. And costly, Kirkling, no big name comes to the MLS this season. I think that big names will be coming to the MLS this season. It's just going to be in the summer after the World Cup, I believe. And I mean, the transfer window and the season's about to start. But I never thought that a big name would come during this time of year. Timo Werner surprised me, just because I think people want to play for their World Cup national teams. And I think that coming to the MLS before the World Cup, I think would be a risk for a lot of people. So I do believe that there's some legs to this. I think it's a stretch, though. I can't imagine that he would do that. And there's another conversation that's been being had over the last couple of weeks and months and maybe even years since Messi said he was going to come here. Inter Miami looks like they have a really good squad to compete for the Champions Cup. I think everybody agrees that this is probably the best roster we've seen, right? Even though we've had a couple of MLS teams win the Champions Cup, this is the best team going into that tournament where you feel like, ooh, they could and maybe even should win. The reason I bring that up is because everybody's been talking about Inter Miami possibly, just because of Messi, obviously, being part of Copa Libertadores in the future. 2027 is it. I believe that Messi retires in 2028. And again, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe Messi retires in 2028, and he's only going to play until the summertime. If he was going to play in Copa Libertadores for Inter Miami, it would have to be in 2027. And if he goes over to Newell Old Boys, I don't think that the Copa Libertadores is going to send that invite to Inter Miami, because what they want is they want Messi, right? They want Messi to be there. They want Messi to promote. They want him to be around, going to those stadiums in South America. And I think that takes a huge hit also. If Messi isn't part of Inter Miami in 2027, I think all that Copa Libertadores talk goes straight out the window. Now, again, I don't know if something like that would happen, but we'll see. Petty Potter. After the World Cup, retired players may join, like Modric, De Bruyne, and Neymar. Neymar's not coming. Modric isn't coming. De Bruyne maybe, but De Bruyne is over. I'm sure De Bruyne is fine. Danny didn't sleep at all thinking about this news. No, but I will tell you that I think it sucks. Talking now from an Inter Miami standpoint, I understand that it's a mini season, but say what you want. In 20 years, when they're counting how many championships a team has, that season is going to count as one of them, right? Like for those people that are NBA fans, the San Antonio Spurs, you count their championships, you count the one that they won in 99. For the LA Lakers, say what you want, in 20 years, that 2020 Disney World thing is also going to count as one. So I do think that it will count. It will count. And I was kind of hoping that Inter Miami would have a chance to win that also. So as again, Inter Miami standpoint, I already talked about the MLS standpoint in that aspect, because I do think that that's a big hit for the credibility of the league and that time period, because I think that a lot of fans are going to be turned off, and they're not going to be taking that little mini season very seriously, which makes sense. 14 games, I could see why they wouldn't, but again, this gives it a bigger hit. And then the Copa Libertadores thing, I think, is a big deal also, because I really did think, and I was convinced that there was a chance. But if this were to happen, I think that there's a good chance that it doesn't happen. So we'll see. I don't know. Chris looks like he just woke up. Now, another reason why I believe that it might not happen, if Messi were to go to Newell Old Boys for half a season. Now, I know Jesse Smith was commenting earlier. I don't know if they're here live now. But they were saying that if Messi was going to come, he would have I'm sorry, if Messi was going to go to Argentina, that he might have gone before he came into Miami. I don't know how true that is, but I will tell you that the Argentine league has the same calendar as the MLS league. And I can't imagine Messi going and getting something started and then leaving halfway through. I can't imagine Messi going and starting the first half of the year for Newell Old Boys, and then when the summer comes, taking off and coming back to Miami. Like, hypothetically, let's say he's killing it in Argentina, killing it, and then Newell Old Boys is top of the league, and they're just doing great. And then the summer comes, he's like, all right, that was fun. See you guys later. I don't know. I can't. And I know somebody just reminded me that it's split up into 2 seasons, the clausura and the postura or whatever. I get it, but I just can't imagine him leaving halfway through that season, even though the season's technically cut in half. I don't see it. And for everybody that's talking about Messi going to Istanbul, that don't even come on. Let's not even entertain that. The only reason I'm entertaining this is, one, Sports Illustrated, right? Because that's what I started the show with. That's the only reason I'm even entertaining this, possibly. And 2, because it's his boyhood club, and one that people have been talking about, and I believe he might have even talked about doing. So, and then Betty Potter saying, on merit, IMCF shouldn't be playing Copa Libertadores anyway. It's like Al Nazir playing in UCL. Technically, yes. But the only difference, Betty, is that I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, no team from Saudi Arabia or any part of that continent have ever played in the UCL, whereas you have had a history of CONCACAF teams playing in Copa Libertadores. So that is something that's happened in the past. So there is precedent. So this isn't something that's just coming out of anybody's ass. Like, this is something that has happened. Mexican teams have participated in Copa Libertadores, and I believe none of them have ever won, but I believe a handful of times they've made it to the final. So it is something that has happened in the past, and because of that, there is a precedent for a CONCACAF team to participate. It's been 10 years since it's happened, so it wasn't that long ago that it was happening on a regular basis. And if you are going to bring a team that is not playing in South America to play in that tournament, would you not want it to be the team that has the biggest star in the world? You saw how he's been received when he went to play in Peru, and then last week in Medellin, Colombia, and the next week is going to be the same thing in Ecuador. Like, you see the turnout, you see the fanfare. If you can get that for Copa Libertadores, I think 100% they would do it and they would bring him on. So we shall see. But I do think that is a big loss. I'm not talking about Copa Libertadores, that he doesn't participate in that if this were to happen, because I do think that. And also, like I was saying, the fact that Messi would be joining the Argentine league in the beginning of the season and then supposedly leaving halfway through, I can't see that happening. I really don't. I think Messi looks happy here. I really do think he looks happy here. But it would be interesting to see, and also interesting to see what happens as far as Messi and kind of not formally influencing people, but people might see, hey, he's leaving for 6-month loan. I could see like a major loan pandemic where everybody's going ahead and leaving, and for those 6 months. And like I said, at that point, I get that you have to play the league money-wise, but at that point, I think that the MLS is going to take a really big hit in viewership, and people just are not going to care. And then he is very happy. We are overreacting. Look, if it comes down to it, and you ask me, do you think this really happens? I will tell you that I no longer think that it's there's 0% chance of it happening, right? Because if you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, I would have said 0% chance. No way that this happens. But Sports Illustrated put it out there. I think that they're credible. And I could see it. I could see it. Now, if you tell me which one I believe will happen, I think he stays. I think he stays. And shout out to Asif. Why am I getting spam calls from Florida? I'm in the UK. I don't know. Mm, Your guess is as good as mine, Asif, but I appreciate you joining. Um, and then Nick, we're not going to wait for any reliable sources out of Argentina to report this. We're just going to trust SI. Well, I'm not reporting anything. I'm talking about it because I think that this is an interesting topic. Um, this, if you think about it, like there's a lot to talk about, and Chris is probably calling. Yeah, it might be Chris. He contacted me 10 minutes ago, and he's still not here. Um, eh, Alicio, no chance. I read the. He's not going to Istanbul, guys. He's not going to Istanbul. But I do think that although it's hypothetical legs, I do think that this might have some legs. But SI reported it. But you know what? This morning I was looking around, and outside of Sports Illustrated, like you said, nobody's really been talking about it. So we'll see. We'll see. And Betty's saying it seems like people only trust Tom Bogert. Yeah. Well, if Tom Bogert were to come out and say it, I mean, it's fair. People would believe it, right? Because he is the go-to here in the MLS. But at the moment, it's random reporting from, and then they sourced. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Tutto Mercato Web. Apparently, it's an Italian source. Now, how an Italian would get that news, I don't know. But like I said, because SI went ahead and referenced it, I thought maybe it has some legs. And I thought that it was an interesting topic to talk about because, again, it has its effects on the MLS and Inter Miami. As far as the MLS goes, I'm assuming that you want to go into the new calendar year when you're starting from the 2027, 2028 calendar year, and you are getting ready to like kind of join the rest of the world as far as the calendar goes. I think this has to be horrible news, right? Like, or does anybody in the chat disagree? I feel like this has to be horrible news. You want to go in there with a good mini season. You hope that mini season, because it's so chaotic and only has 14 games, it's going to be crazy storylines. Decision day will be crazy because there's going to be a lot of teams fighting for a couple spots in the playoffs. Like, you want it to be an exciting season so that it kind of hypes everybody up, because you get everybody hyped up. It's the end of May and everybody's like, wow, that was amazing. And then guess what? A couple weeks later, you're getting ready for the next season. I think that is best case scenario. Messi leaves. Rodrigo de Paul, I would assume, isn't staying for those 6 months if Messi isn't here. So he leaves also. All of a sudden, you lose some star power. You might see other, like I said, big names do the same. I think that's a big hit for the MLS. And then Slish is asking, where's Sports Illustrated? Slish is where we got this news. And Mr. Manny, Danny, we're enjoying. I don't know what that is. Just enjoy the moment as long as he is in Miami. Absolutely. Look, I think MLS and Miami fans alike should just enjoy the fact that he's still here. Obviously, we're closer to the end than we were before. We're guaranteed this season, next season. I thought he was here for 3 more years. Sorry, not 3 more years, 3 more seasons, because I was including the mini season. But we will see. Danny, let's pretend this episode never happened. Why? I feel like this ain't happening. Everyone chill. Okay, look, like I said, if you had to ask me, what do you think is going to happen? I think it doesn't happen. I don't. But I did think it's worth talking about if it's starting to be reported, and just to hear and to think about the implications that it could affect as far as the MLS and Inter Miami. So we'll see. But I thought it was an interesting topic, and from what I'm seeing, in the chat, a lot of people are thinking that it's not going to happen. So Nick, what happens if a reliable source comes out and says this whole thing is BS? Well, then it becomes BS, and then we move on with our lives. And then Kevin Hernandez saying it's happening advanced. I will tell you that I did have somebody reach out to me that said that they believe it's happening. And the person that reached out to me is somebody that sometimes is in the know. Now, again, I don't see this happening. Um, for the reason, like I told you, I think it would be a big hit to the MLS into Miami. And I think that, well, I mean, if Messi wants to do it, he wants to do it. But I think MLS will try to talk him out of it. Um, and again, I don't see him joining his boyhood club for just half the season. I really don't. I think that would be kind of weird. At least Messi did his thing got the start for IMCF, especially the first one. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think that Inter Miami can't ask for much more. Maybe Champions Cup, right? That would be cool. But that is what you wanted into Miami. When Messi got here, you're like, we have to get at least a star, and we got that. So I think Inter Miami is good. Maybe a testimonial of 3 to 6 months times in Argentina, but highly unlikely. Yeah. Well, look, everybody's kind of on the same boat as me. As I start winding down here, Messi was probably having some wine with Sprite, and then he spilled the beans. Yeah, I heard that he likes the Sprite with wine. Messi on contract through 2028. Yes. Now, and for those of you that joined late, supposedly the news is that Messi would be leaving after the 2026 season, and then he would miss the 14-game mini season that's happening next year. So he would come back a couple months later for the first European calendar season, which starts in the summer of 2027. I believe it starts late July 2027 and goes through May of 2028. And then he would technically retire, or at least leave Inter Miami and go, who knows, would go where. He would retire. And I've always thought that at the end of 2028, his last game wouldn't be with Inter Miami. I believe, at least, that he'll go ahead and play in Copa Libertadores for Argentina. And that would end up being his swan song. I believe that is when he would retire. He would go ahead and play in the 2028 Copa Libertadores. And after that, then he would probably bow out and retire. That is just pure speculation on my part. The fact that his contract goes through 2028, or at least the end of that season, would leave you off in May 2028, just in time for Copa America. So I can't imagine that he's playing all the way up until May 2028, and then he retires knowing that Argentina is about to participate in Copa Libertadores just a couple weeks later. I would assume that he goes ahead and participates in that also. Now, what he does after that, I think his time in Inter Miami would be done after that. I don't think that he was going to be playing for Inter Miami past that. Now, if he goes to play somewhere else, that's a whole nother story. But we'll see. And I guess I've filibustered here for 23 minutes. And let's see if we can get a different opinion on this. So without further ado, Mr. KBD, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning. And it's crazy how I did the show last night, and all of a sudden this news just breaks, and here we are. So this guy, Lewis, I believe it's Lewis, reporter guy.
No, it's right up here. It's above me. Sports Illustrated put this out yesterday. Now, a lot of people are saying that Sports Illustrated isn't necessarily credible. And the more I thought about it, I was thinking, maybe this doesn't happen. Maybe this doesn't happen because, well, I gave a couple points as to why it wouldn't happen. So let me just run through them real quick, and then you tell me what you think. So I'm going to summarize the last 20 minutes while I was here. One, I think that this is horrible for the MLS because that mini season, people are discrediting already. People are like, 14-game season, nobody's taking that shit serious, right? Messi leaves.
And if he leaves, then it discredits it more.
Right. And I think that other big names, I don't know who will be here, because I do believe that big names will join the MLS this summer. But there's a good chance that other big names are like, well, Messi's gone for 6 months. Yeah, you're right. This is a stupid season. Like, who wants to play for 14 games and crown a champion? You might see other players leave to go play in other places on loan. They might go back to Europe to finish a UCL run, to go ahead and finish a title run with a big team, even if it's on the bench. Like, those are things that are possible. Copa Libertadores. Everybody's talking about Copa Libertadores. 2027 was the only year that's possible for Inter Miami.
Yes.
Because this year is not happening. In 2028, he's only signed through the summer, so he wouldn't complete Copa Libertadores. 2027 is the only chance that happens. If Messi isn't playing on Inter Miami in 2027, they're not getting the invite. So that kind of throws that out the window also. Some people are saying, if he leaves to Newell Old Boys, will he come back? I think he will. Contractually, I think he has to. So I think that goes out the window. And then if he joins Newell Old Boys, he's joining for only half the season, supposedly. Can you really imagine him starting a season with his boyhood club? And let's say he's killing it and the team is killing it. And then the summer comes and he's like, deuces, that was fun. And then he kind of just leaves them high and dry. I can't imagine him doing that only for half a season. And then international credibility also. I think people were to see that and think of Miami as a joke again. I'm sorry, as the MLS as a joke again. So those were the points that I laid out there before you jumped on.
Well, and the last time, I'm just looking random facts up here. Like the last time that Newell's Old Boys won a championship, I guess, or like in the, I guess they made a strong Copa Libertadores run, and it says here that they won a championship, a major championship in 2013. What if they do make a long run, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, I got to go back to Miami? Like, you think he'd really do that? And
well, and I think contractually he'd have to.
Well, and you and I were talking about it last night, right after the show, and I haven't seen a Sports Illustrated magazine in over 20 years.
Right.
So I'm wondering, like, and look, you and I, when we used to go, when we were in high school, we, read Sports Illustrated, ESPN magazine, back when magazines were magazines. But like, is Sports Illustrated, like, I mean, is it really super accredited still? Like, taken super seriously?
I would. Maybe it's the old head in me, but there's a couple places that I still take seriously when it comes to reporting sports news. ESPN, as much as people hate it, if ESPN reports something, I take it seriously. Sports Illustrated, I still take it seriously. I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong for that. I got mine also. Maybe I'm wrong for that.
That's what I was making before I got on here.
Whenever I hear Sports Illustrated, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm off, and maybe it's become not a very credible source over the last, I don't know, couple decades, because I haven't looked into Sports Illustrated in probably 20 years. But I don't know. I feel like Sports Illustrated is a big name. Like, we still have SI Players of the Year. Like, are people? Isn't it the Sports Illustrated? Is that what sponsors the SP? I don't know. I still think that Sports Illustrated, if they put their name out there, even though they're sourcing someone else, I feel like if Sports Illustrated kind of puts it in their article, there has to be some legs to it, right? Even though they came out and straight said an agreement has been reached between Messi and Argentine side Newell Boys. But and then Sports Illustrated is credible if they're talking about swimsuits. Okay, yeah, that's true. I mean, they still got that. People still talk about the cover.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm wondering here, like I just said, Sports Illustrated, I haven't had a magazine of theirs in a long time. I haven't seen one. So I don't know. Like, to me, that's what kind of made them credible or whatever. But I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe they still have good people doing good work. But it is kind of sucky that as a fan, you kind of, and I get why he's doing it. Newell's Old Boys was like the first team he ever played for.
Hypothetically.
So I think it's a cool nod to do that. And look, there is no better time to do it than that little mini season, because unless he's going to wait until after his contract with Inter Miami to do it with them again. So,
well, and before you got on, I want to make sure that I made the point. Like, I think about it, and if you were to tell me I have to bet on one, he goes, he doesn't go. If I have to bet money, I think I lean towards he doesn't. But I can't say 0%. I don't know. I see this and I'm like, this makes kind of sense. Like, for this mini season, like if you tell me he's leaving for a full season from January to December, I'm like, nah. But for this little mini season, like, he can finally like go ahead and just like what people have been talking about forever, and he finally gets to fulfill that. Like, man, maybe like it makes sense, I guess.
Well, and like I said, if there's any time to do it, it would be then. he's not going to leave during like a full season. And Newell's Old Boys is, they have something that every other team doesn't have, which is like his home heart.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so that tugs at his sort of heartstrings. You could tell that he is a very, I mean, Pedro Potter saying, Chris, your Cook season is over. Season is not, it hadn't even started yet, Papi. Like, what are we doing?
Cynical's
He
saying that
might
I
not play
agree
the
he might
mini
not
season.
play,
Yeah, go ahead.
but I don't think he goes to another club. That's wild. There's no way Messi takes
Why
6
would he
months
just
off.
take a vacation? There's
He said
no way.
himself that one of the hardest parts of being in the MLS, that first season he was here when they didn't make the playoffs, was having a 2-month break. He's like, oh, that was horrible. Like, it was hard to get back in rhythm. There's no way he just voluntarily takes 6 months off.
And someone earlier mentioned that Messi is bigger than contracts. I think that's crazy. And
Well, and
Messi
remember, this is a
special
loan.
says you
He's
cannot
not.
agree on a contract.
Well,
Yeah.
remember, it's a loan. It's not a contract. He would still be under Inter Miami's contract. He would be loaned out for 6 months.
Well, for all of this to happen, like, who's breaking this to Sports Illustrated? Who's
well,
the
look
guy?
right here.
Like it. Right here, Kevin Hernandez said, TUDN and OneFootball confirmed that agreement has been reached with Messi. First of all, I don't know how serious I take OneFootball. Their quality of broadcast is absolute trash.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to do with that.
Well, it's and then one goal reminding us that Beckham did the same thing when he was with the Galaxy for AC Milan. I don't know, but I told her earlier, because she brought that up earlier, it's a whole nother world now, right? Like, the scrutiny that the league and the teams would be getting isn't what it was back then. Back then, the MLS, although Beckham did bring more popularity to it, it was nothing like what it is now. I think right now people would look down on the MLS if people are like, yeah, I'm bouncing for 6 months, I'll be back. So I'm streaming this. Go ahead, Chris.
No, and I think that's the sad part, is the fact that you have him taking that time off, and it would look like a joke. And MLS, in the time that they're ramping up to not look like a joke, you literally get slapped in the face right after the fact. I don't know.
Now, I'm streaming this to both the MLS channel and the Inter Miami channel, because I figured, like, this, I don't know where to do the show, because I felt like this is news for both. So I just streamed it to both.
Yeah.
But talking strictly Inter Miami right now, as a Miami supporter, it sucks because although it's a mini season, I believe this is when you jumped on the show when I was talking about this. Although it's a mini season, it's still going to count as an MLS championship.
Yes.
And the Spurs still have, 4 or 5 trophies. One of those is the 99 short season. Nobody talks about it. They just say that's one of the 5.
Yes, correct.
When you talk about the Lakers, they got 17 or 18. And then, 2020 was a short, weird Disney World season. But they don't say 17 and a half. They say 18. Right. It's like, so, as an Inter Miami fan, I was like, well, that's another one that we have a chance of winning, So, it does suck in that aspect also.
Well, and I do agree with you, because I think getting an extra trophy is still just, it's good getting an extra trophy. But look, Cynical Tube is saying that mini season is a joke.
MLS is going to take a huge hit during that mini season. There's going to be such small interest. Like, you need chaos. Like, you need you need 10 teams to be fighting for the number 1 seed at the end of those 14 games. Because if it's not chaos, people are not going to care.
And look, Mike V is saying, I forgot about the mini season. Then he's going. I mean, dude, we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait. Because, look at Pedri. He's saying mini season doesn't count in my books, just like COVID trophies. Also, Barca's 8-2 loss doesn't count. So I guess it's weird to grade those short seasons when it comes to sports, but
all right, Chris, gun to your head, you have to pick one. So if he goes the other way, you get it. Is he staying with Miami through 2028 without any loans, or do you think he goes to Argentina for those 6 months?
I think he goes to Argentina.
You do.
Yeah, because I think, look, he literally left MLS hanging on All-Star games. He does what he
Okay.
wants.
He does,
Like,
and he has the right. He's the GOAT, right?
he's literally Messi. Like, he can shit on Garber's desk, and Garber will pick it right up and say, "Thank you for pooping on my desk, Messi."
I don't think it happens. But
Oh,
like, if you would have asked me a couple
you're
weeks ago,
crazy,
I would have said 0%. Now I'm like, I can't say 0% anymore because it makes sense to me. Like him going to his boyhood club, which again, it's been a topic of conversation forever, right? How many friendlies has he played against them? So it's been something forever. Yeah.
But the thing is, Marshall's saying an all-star game is a friendly, not the same thing. But this is where it lands. Betty Potter saying it's a history. They have a history of retiring at the Royal clubs. I don't know about retiring, Betty, but you just can't do anything about him playing at his boyhood club.
Well, look, Neymar went back to Santos.
Whether you like it or not.
Neymar went back to Santos. Suarez was supposed to go back to Nacional, but I don't know what. I don't know if he wanted to stick around to play with Messi one more year. It is something that tends to happen. It is something that's very common.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. And Eduardo said 0 chance that Messi doesn't retire at Miami. No.
He's going to retire in Miami.
Yeah, according to this, he's coming back. This is strictly for a loan during that mini season. And then here, EMZX Newell's president is working on the logistics according to the rumors. So, all right.
Trust me, they're working a lot harder than Inter Miami's working at this. Trust me, they're making sure this thing happens. Inter Miami can give a flying F about what happens, but Newell's old boys for sure want this to happen. Let's not get it twisted. No.
And then look, Inter Miami will be going into their second season. And Marcelo also, Betty's naming off the players that went back to their clubs. Neymar with Santos. Again, Suarez almost did it with Nacional. I forgot what I was going to say something, and I started reading that, and I forgot. Oh. And then this is what a lot of people are asking. Royman Durante, why would an Italian sports website be talking about this? If this was a beyond reproach, we would have news out of Argentina. Well, this is something that just dropped late last night. This is the
funny thing. That is the funny thing, because usually this kind of splash gets broken by Argentine news first. The fact that Sports Illustrated has their hands on this first,
well,
kind of suspect.
It is kind of suspect. You're right. And I also think that I will tell you this. SI, I don't know how credible they are anymore. When I hear Sports Illustrated, I take it seriously. But the more people talk on the chat, they say that I'm too old school because that's not a fact anymore. And maybe that's true. I still think it was a good talking point. But I think most credible, like Fabricio, well, he was off a lot on the whole Messi coming to Miami thing. But usually, big reporters like that wait until something's a little more solid. Instead of just hearing like there's conversations being had or there's a handshake agreement, I think that they wait a little more. But you know what? I think there's a chance that you start hearing a little more about this today, whether it be it's happening or it's not happening. Because I think one way or another, I think that today you're going to start hearing like, no, that's bullshit. Don't even pay attention to it. Or you'll hear like, oh, there are some rumblings. So we'll see. But I do think that you start hearing a little bit more about it today, whether it be pro or not.
So I'm trying to look to see who the writer is of the article. And all I see is SIFC staff. And I don't know what to do with that. And the picture that I see here is Ronaldo eyes Saudi Arabia exit and Messi agrees Inter Miami departure. What does that do for me?
Oh,
Of
Fabrizio
course, that's
Romano
going to get
is
a billion
Italian.
clicks by a billion people. Like, this is literally,
It caught my attention.
if there's any clickbait, this is the most clickbaitiest clickbait in football history. Yes or no? SI will be relevant again just off of this clickbait.
It caught my attention. Look, we're talking. Well, we're talking about it. But yeah, I don't think it's happening though. SI trying to push sales, maybe. But you know, we ended up just doing a hype. At no point did we say this is happening, right? We told you this is where we heard it, and I don't know, man. I'm finding it hard to believe. Mike V, local reports. Journalists in Rosario have reported that Newell's president Ignacio Boero is working in silence and has discussed security logistics with Santa Fe. Wow. So look, today, I think, right? I don't know for sure. February 3rd, 2026, I think you hear a little more about it, and you hear that either it's BS, stop paying attention to it, it's not happening, or hey, there's some legs to this, look out. So I think one way or another, you're going to start hearing about it today.
How bad would that be for Sports Illustrated if this was considered BS? Like, that would destroy the company, right? Like,
No,
all the credibility ever.
Well, that's according to the chat, there isn't a lot of credibility there.
How can you be able to come out and announce something like this and not lose complete credibility as a Sports Illustrated who's been around for many, many years? That's embarrassing.
It is. I think it is embarrassing if it's wrong. But look, I can't see it. But like, are you gonna stop buying Sports Illustrated magazines after this if they're wrong?
Well, I haven't bought a Sports Illustrated magazine in forever.
So at this point, what do they have to lose?
I'll tell you this much: if I still had my subscription and they did this, and I have the article, and then I find out it's wrong, I'm canceling my subscription. There's no way I'm going to support Sports Illustrated any longer.
And then Nick's saying SI isn't reporting it though. Look, if you put it in one of your articles and you cite it, you're giving it some credibility. Like, you can't just be like, "Oh, my bad. That's what I heard. I don't take it." Like, no, you put it in there. If you
this is what that guy told me.
Yeah, like, nah, you only take it seriously if Tutto Mercado Web is a prominent Italian football news site, which is the one that reported it, known for high volume transfer rumors, though its credibility is often viewed as mixed to moderate by serious football analysts. And maybe it's a preseason game, right? And maybe they misread the news article, and maybe it's he's going to Newell's Old Boy for a friendly next year. That's possible. That's possible. All right.
So the guy is that Danielle Najjar is the one that's apparently breaking this.
Okay.
So I just found it. Hold on. So this is the article here, and this is the guy, I think. Danielle Najjar on X.
Well, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if in an hour from now, right now it is 7 a.m, February 3rd, you hear it's BS, guys. Stop paying attention to it. But we'll see. And I think that's our clock to bow out. Chris, any final words?
Thank you for joining us this morning, guys, for this breaking news, and for joining us last night. And don't forget, we did a thing in the car, La Ventanita. Check that out, guys, and much appreciated to everybody.
All right, and appreciate everybody joining us on both channels, MLS and Battered Herons. And look, again, this is a talking point. Hopefully it doesn't happen. We'll see. We have to wait and see. I think you'll hear more about it today. But regardless, I think it's a blow for Inter Miami and the MLS alike. And I hope that he stays. But, I mean, I could see it. But hopefully not. If you're listening on audio, please leave us 5 stars and a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And we will be back, depending on which channel you're watching us from, possibly Wednesday night. So until the next one, have
Real
a good one.